Yo, what is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. In case you guys don't know who I am, my name is Christian Compion, and I do high ticket sales for a living. Today's video, I'm going to be doing just a wrap up video on 2025, probably the craziest year of my life yet today, in terms of just overall financially, spiritually. Um, just overall, my life has changed a lot in several aspects of my life, and I also wanted to document this for you guys to walk you guys through some of the biggest lessons I feel like I've learned this year in particular. I lost a lot of money. I made a decent amount of money, and I feel like there's a lot of stuff, valuable stuff at least, that I've learned that can definitely save you guys either one, a lot of time, or two, a lot of money. Um, so without further ado, I kind of just wanted to kick things off. So to those of you who have been following along the journey since the beginning, I think I uploaded my first ever YouTube video about 10 months ago, give or take, and I've been uploading maybe one to two videos per month ever since. I started off high ticket sales about a year ago, and January 1st was my first ever time setting full time for an offer after being burnt, after losing a few grand to just a bunch of guys who essentially were scammers at the end of the day, in the high ticket sales industry. And I ended up landing like my first official full time offer January 1st. Um, a combination of coincidence and a combination of maybe God was just on my side. I was able to get promoted to closer the same day due to some circumstances that happened within the team of the offer at the time, and I just started closing first from the get go January 1st, and I managed to actually close my first ever deal, um, with the script that I never even remembered nor recognize, I guess is the word. I didn't remember it at all. I repped it a few times, like not jokingly, but I repped it a few times because I knew I wanted to be a closer as soon as possible because you make twice as much as a setter typically. Um, and I did have like a few repetitions with it, and somehow, some way, I was able to close my first ever sale. And this kind of like gave me the courage and the confidence to continue moving forward, continue like moving the needle forward. But I feel like there was a lesson that was learned in that, and the lesson that I learned was, you don't have to get ready for things if you stay ready. What I mean by that, a lot of setters are like, a lot of setters nowadays have the mindset of like, yeah, I'll get ready when the offer presents itself, or let me get ready before I do it. Or I'll hear people in my personal life, they'll be like, yeah, let me get ready, let me get right with God, and then I'm gonna get baptized, right? Or let me get ready, let me do this, and this first, and then I'm gonna do something, right? There's never gonna be a time. There's never gonna be like the perfect time. There's never gonna be a perfect moment for you to actually do something, right? That's kind of where faith and belief in yourself and your belief in God comes into play, because every quote unquote risk or anything you do that is uncomfortable for you in the moment is a test of your faith, is a test of your walk with God essentially. And this is something that I learned that not only applies to like my personal life spiritually and my relationships, but it also applies to my business as well, in sales, as a sales manager, as a closer, as a hybrid sales rep. It implies in a variety of different ways. And this was one of the first things I began to realize in high ticket sales back in January, that there's never going to be a perfect time for you to be ready. You have to throw yourself in the fire, quote unquote, to really see what you're made of, right? You're only going to fail if you give up at the end of the day. If you truly just throw in the towel and give up and just stop doing whatever you're doing, that's really the only way for you to actually give up at the end of the day. As long as you continue going, you're going to succeed. I think of it now as entrepreneurship. I'm looking at it, it's a marathon, right? It's a marathon, and the second you stop, you lost the race already, right? Because everyone's gonna pass ahead of you, and everyone's gonna get a big chunk of the market, and you're not gonna be there to witness it all. So literally, I told my nephew this. He's 12 years old. He's in running club, and I'm like, do you know what the difference is? He got like 25th place out of like a 500 kid race, which is pretty good. And I was like, do you know what the difference is between you and like the top five, top 10 kids? He's like, what? I'm like, they didn't stop a single time during that race, right? I think he stopped maybe once or twice, right? And literally, it doesn't matter how fast you're going, as long as you're pushing the needle forward as long as you're not stopping at all. It sounds cliche. Everyone in the world says that. You're going to get to where you want to be at, where you need to be at, whether that takes you a year or whether that takes you 10 years. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but you simply cannot lose just by not giving up, right? So that's the first thing that kind of happened. A few months goes by. I end up dropping out of college, one of the scariest decisions I ever made in my life. And quite frankly, the reason it was scary is because I came from a family, I came from a background of where college was like the norm. It was expected of me. I was really gonna go play football in college, so I was already expected to go to college in the first place. I ended up not playing football because I knew I wanted to pursue entrepreneurship and make a lot more money and have more control over on whether or not I get to where I want to be, not having to rely on, oh, what if I get hurt in college, what if I get hurt making it pro, whatever the case may be. So that's why I went the entrepreneurial route in terms of like going all in on high ticket sales. But I also hit my first 5K plus month. I think it was 6K actually specifically in January, which was the most amount of money I've ever made in a single month in sales or just in my entire life, just in general. And I was like, bro, I need to put more time into this. And that was in college as well. I was really taking a college, full time college classes, full time courses in college. At the time, I was like, bro, if I just put more time into this, I'm going to make a lot more money, right? And that ended up actually happening. The Another reason it was scary for me is um just overall I was afraid of like what other people thought about me, whether that was my parents, whether that's siblings, whether whoever that is, friends, families, friends, parents. I didn't really. There was a lot of going through my mind at the time, and I really sat down with myself. And there's a there's a quote Hermosi said that really resonates with me to this very day. It was something along the lines of, no one's going to remember you 100 years from now. No one's going to remember you 200, 500, 1,000 years from now, right? So it's like, why are we going to let people's opinions that are going to die one day, people that we know are going to die one day, and none of it is going to matter in the first place? And that really like completely 180 my perspective on big quote unquote risk and decisions I want to make from here on out, whether that's in my personal life or whether that's in my business, on what exactly it is that I want to do in my life, but exactly what I feel called to do in my life, specifically from God, from Jesus, things of that nature. So that was a big realization that I came to as well, that it doesn't really matter how close people may be in your circle or on what their opinions are. Yes, there's people that want the best for you, but at the end of the day, it is going to be your life. As long as you're not hurting anyone, obviously, and you're not doing any harm to yourself, I think that you should be taking on as many risks as possible at such a young age, because you have so much more. You have one thing that Elon Musk doesn't have much of, or Jeff Bezos, or all the older millionaires and billionaires of the world. You have one thing over them that they will never be able to get back, which is time, right? So just keep that in mind when you're young and you're on the fence of taking a risk, doing something crazy, doing something that isn't normal in your day-to-day circle, in your city, in your neighborhood, in your network, in your community. Just keep that in mind moving forward, that when you're 80, when you're 90 years old, shoot, you could even, God forbid, something happens, you get sick, and all of a sudden you're 19 years old on your deathbed. Are you gonna really sit down and have this resentment and regret that, man, I should have took the risk, I should have took the jump at that specific moment in my life? And are you okay with like settling with that? And for me at the time, if you would have asked me, I would have said no, quite frankly, like right off the bat. Um, so that's something to keep in mind as well. Um, so yeah, I ended up dropping out of college, and then I made my first 5 figure month over summer in sales. So that was around end of Q2, beginning of Q3, I want to say, around there, give or take. And that was a big eye opener for me. And to be honest, yes, it's important for you to set like monetary goals for yourself, but never assume to feel a certain way when you get there. When I got to my first 10K month this year, I thought it was gonna feel like I was on top of the world. I felt the exact same as when I made 5K, as when I made 6K, as when I made 7K. You know what I mean? So just keep in mind that um, there's this saying I've also heard from Josh Lyons. I like quoting a lot of people that I'm looking up to right now, because they're really authentic quotes and true stories that I really resonate with. There's something that Josh explains where he's like, don't be too high, don't be too low. What does that mean? Don't be too high when you have like the record breaking day, you have a record breaking month, you have a record breaking year, and don't be too low when everything goes to shit. I mean, you don't make money for several days, or you have a terrible sales month, or you have a terrible sales year for whatever reason. Always be neutral, and always learn to manage your emotions, right? That's still something, quite frankly, that I'm having a hard time doing. And it's something that's going to continue being an ongoing skill set that I need to develop over time, because it's going to help me learn to become so detached from the outcome, not just in my sales life, but also just like my emotional state outside of sales, and not letting my business affect who I am as a person outside of sales, because that's like the last thing you want happening is you're getting angry, or you're too down, or you're too sad, or you're too in your feelings, you're too in your emotions based off how the business is going. So one thing I recommend, especially if you're still new to entrepreneurship, or you're still new to sales in general, learn like not tattoo that on your body. Put that up on a wall somewhere, or write it down somewhere. Don't be too high, don't be too low. Put that down in some sort of like pre-call checklist you have, so that you could continue to focus on embodying that version of yourself that's not too high, not too low, so that every single day you're striving to become more and more like that person, personality wise, spiritually, financially, just all aspects of your life that all aligns with the version of yourself of who you want to become. So that's something I would say as well. Um, in regards to high ticket sales, I did want to talk a little bit about that as well, in regards to like lessons that I've been learning. I'll start off with setters, and then I'll kind of like work my way up from there. As an appointment setter, I realized that there's no faster way to get better at appointment setting than just repetitions at the end of the day. All the frameworks, and all the setting objections, and all the setting tactics that I use right here right now, majority of it truthfully hasn't really been taught from like other people. It's really just been taught from my own mistakes, right? It takes 10,000 reps to master a certain skill, and then you continue mastering it and perfecting it after that, right? So as a setter, you always need to take on the mindset of, I just need more reps, I just need more reps, I just need more reps. As a closer, I feel like, truth be told, I feel like it's almost the opposite in a sense, because some closers have the mindset of, oh, it's just a numbers game. I just need more calls on my calendar so I could get more opportunities to close deals. While part of that is true, you also need to have this sort of mindset of, I'm going to be so present and focused. I'm going to treat this call like this is the only call I have on my calendar today, right? And when you take on that sort of mindset as a closer, the quality of your calls goes up detrimentally. When you start treating your prospects like genuine, truthful human beings, children of God, if you're religious, this is a child of God, and I'm going to do my best to help serve them, even if that means not accepting them into our program, because it wouldn't be in their best interest, whether that's financially, whether they don't have a burning desire, whether they don't have a burning problem to even want to fix something. You know what I mean? So when you take on that sort of mindset, you're not only are you going to become a better closer, you're going to have a lot more peace internally as a closer, which is going to allow you to perform at the best optimal position as a high ticket closer, especially in this industry. People ask me all the time, or I'll talk to some of my colleagues about it, is like, where do you think info is going in 2026, in 2030, 5 years from now, ten years from now? Info is not going anywhere. Obviously, there's a lot of people going from the traditional 9 to 5 college route to people now wanting to learn from people online, by courses, by mentorships, by masterminds. Quite frankly, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. But the people that are going to collect the most amount of cash in this limited, I don't want to call it limited time because I have no idea how long it's going to be here for. People who are going to eat up a big chunk of the market when it comes to sales, closers specifically, are going to be the people who have the most genuine, truthful, authentic conversations with their prospects, allowing them to self actualize at the highest possibility, right? So that's something to keep in mind as a closer. I know I went off on a little bit of a rant there. But if I was to look at my younger self, and and give myself probably one piece of advice as a closer, it would also be to get into scriptless selling. I was doing scripted selling for 6 months on with this script, and making the transition to scriptless was by far one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Why was it hard? Is I had to start thinking for myself again, right? As a scriptless seller, you have to start thinking for yourself, but also it forces you to expose all the leaks in your personal life, and the leaks on your sales calls are going to expose those leaks that you're having in your personal life, whether that's lack of confidence in yourself, whether that's lack of consistency in yourself, whether that's you having some sort of issues in relationships, physically, mentally, financially, stress. All those emotions are going to portray to yourself on your sales call, which is why it's a very hard change for a lot of closers to make. But I feel like the sooner you're able to make that change, especially if you're a closer and you get into scriptless right off the bat, right off the get go, you're going to by far outperform 99.9% of the closers that start off their journey with the script just right off the bat, right? So that's something I would also a little piece of advice I'd give myself back in the day too when I first started off closing, because quite frankly I was afraid to. I don't know why my mic is tripping right now. Quite frankly, I was afraid to transition to scriptless for that reason alone, because I know it's a very advanced methodology to be selling at. But to be honest, I don't regret it now that I made the switch. I'm glad I made the switch. I'm actually having fun closing now. Like getting to the root cause, getting to the brain desire of why my prospects are in the current spot that they're currently in, so I can make sure I'm developing myself as an individual outside the sales calls, but I'm also helping as many people as possible that are capable and willing of accepting that gift of guidance and help from our program, from our service, to put themselves, to put their families, to put their future in the best possible situation that they want to get to, whatever the case may be. Okay, so that's another thing. Now, I started sales management about March till about now that I'm still doing sales management here a little bit. And to be honest, I'm gonna start posting more sales management stuff going to 2026. I wanted to focus on sales content. I'm still going to focus on sales content going to 2026, but I'll post a bit more sales management stuff as well going to 2026. Talking about sales management though, if you want to make 50 to 100,000 a month as a closer, 100% it's possible. There's definitely lots. I don't even know if lots is a even. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say. There's definitely people who are making 50 to 100,000 a month as a high ticket closer in the industry, but a lot has to go into that to make that a reality in terms of having a unicorn offer, you being a unicorn closer, so you actually being able to perform at that offer, and then also like your training, your training, your internal mastery, your scriptless selling, all that stuff needs to be aligned and in tune. It's almost like a Josh, for example, he calls it, I think he calls it like the unicorn trifecta, I think is what he calls it. Unicorn offer, unicorn closer, and then consistent training over a long period of time. You can stay at that amount, but it is typically harder, in my opinion. Like, if I'm just being honest, I feel like there's more sales managers nowadays that are making consistently 50 to 100 grand a month than there are like actual high ticket closers. So I feel like I'd be lying to you guys if I said that there's more high ticket closers making consistent 50 to 100K months in this industry than there are sales manager, which is why I feel like depending on who you are as a person, what your goals are, what you're passionate about, what you care about, what you're currently investing into, what you're able to invest into, those types of questions you need to ask yourself as an individual when you come to the point of, okay, I've been closing for a year, 2 years, 3 years now. Do I want to continue down this path of closing, or do I want to go down a different route and try to pursue maybe like a sales management role position? In my opinion, sales management is obviously a higher leverage position because you're technically above a closer because you're overseeing the whole sales team, which is definitely something that's definitely good. There's pros and cons to both, quite frankly, but I feel like if you genuinely want to make more money, sales management is definitely the vehicle to get in as well. But yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about sales management in particular right now. but I'll go ahead and start making some content for you guys as well, going over sales management, like tips, advice, things that I learned as a sales manager. But yeah, that's a little bit about that. Um, this year in particular, I've been just full transparency with you guys. Like I've been on several offers before, like hybrid roles, closing roles. Some offers I'm not selling for, I'm just managing, and it's um when it comes to this industry, there's a part of me that wants to say that some people aren't made for it, and there's another part of me that says there's some people that there's always going to be people who regardless of where you come from, your background, your sales experience, that you're always going to be able to perform at a very high level in this industry. And it really just depends on kind of like where you're coming from, sales background related, offers related. That's why I like telling my guys, like, it's best for you to develop these networks, develop these friendships, never hold animosity towards other people, because you never know who's friends with who's in this industry specifically. So just be cool with everyone. Like you never know when doors and opportunities present themselves. Be cool, calm, and collected. Be present, um, and just continue like focusing on your craft, because there's so much like opportunity when it comes to like offers, and there's so many good offers out there. There's so many bad offers out there, and there's so many. Believe it, well, let me put it this way. I feel like this will also help you guys out as well. There's good offers out there, there's bad offers out there, and then there's great offers out there. Regardless of what offer you're on, whether that's a bad offer, whether that's a good offer, whether that's a great offer, there is an opportunity for you, regardless of those three categories, for you to make a lot of money. If it's a bad offer, you have the opportunity to growth operate for it. You have the opportunity to become a sales manager, work your way up. You have the opportunity to scale that offer up, as long as it's obviously scalable in the first place. You have the opportunity to make that a great offer, right? If it's a good offer, you have the opportunity to become a great sales rep on that offer and use that experience to branch off, whether that's sales management, growth operating, or a setter closer, or like another setter closer offer, right? And if it's a great offer, if you have little experience, you have the opportunity to start off as a very, very entry level position and work your way up the ladder, right? So it's all perspective, right? I'm really done saying, okay, this offer is bad, this offer is terrible, this offer is not scalable. Instead, look at it as an opportunity to learn valuable skill sets: marketing, sales, operations, leadership, management. Look at it as an opportunity for you to develop your skill set, because sales isn't the long term play here. Like, like 99% of salespeople aren't like, yeah, I want to do sales for the rest of my life. I want to do sales till I'm 8 years old. If you do, good for you. But like most people in this industry aren't here to be in the industry for more than like 5 to 10 years. You know what I mean? So chances are you want to be an entrepreneur. You want to own a business. You want to have several investments, whether that's real estate, stocks, ETFs, crypto. There's like all sorts of stuff that you can invest into nowadays. So learn the skill sets that you know you need to have in order to succeed at the highest level with whatever industry, whatever entrepreneurial route you plan on going, so that you're able to capitalize on this opportunity, because this is a opportunity for you to learn these valuable skill sets while at the same time cash flowing enough money to live more than an average lifestyle, to live more than a 9 to 5 lifestyle, right? So keep that in mind. Moving forward into 2026, I still think that high ticket sales, high ticket remote online info money is the best industry to be in. If there is an industry that is better to be in than this industry right here, right now, I would say it's AI. You could lock yourself in the room for the next 30 days and master AI and know more about it more than 99.99% of the population. And that's just a fact, right? And now you could use AI to leverage that, whether you're a growth operator, you're a sales operator, you're a whatever, you know what I mean? So there's so much stuff that I've learned in this year in particular, and um, just looking at myself, like for example, before this video, I was just looking at one of my one of my not top five, one of my first five ever YouTube videos. And the way I was speaking, I was just more shy. I was less confident. I was speaking with less authority. How I feel like I am right now. I feel like I'm speaking with at least more authority than I was previously. And you could just see the character growth that I've had through the year, which is definitely something that I'm proud of. And I hope I make a video exactly like this a year from now. Well, not exactly like this, obviously, but just sounding um, much more abundant with such more conviction in what I'm doing and what I believe in, so that I could really start striving to become the version of myself that I truly aspire to be. So, um, yeah, that's pretty much it for the journey. I hope that you guys were able to take some sort of value from this. Like I mentioned before, it's been a hectic journey, but I've been grateful for it nonetheless, and truly blessed and grateful to have you guys alongside me here with the in the journey and stuff. I think for my vision board 2026, I'm planning on my goal is to get 1,000 subs by the end of 2026, which I know is 100% possible. So I'm gonna get back to posting consistently, whether that's weekly, bi-weekly, whatever the case may be. I'll be posting sales management stuff, closing stuff, setting stuff, really just the whole journey A to Z of what I'm learning on this journey to help you guys out, so that you guys can make a lot of money and ultimately become better versions of yourself and also get closer to God at the same time. So grateful to have you guys alongside me with the journey. If you guys have any questions or you guys want to ask me anything, you guys can either just drop it in the comment section or you guys could DM me personally on Instagram, C Compy and JJ. I'll go ahead and drop it in the description for you guys to make it a lot more easier. But other than that, man, it's been such a blessed year. Gave my life to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ around my birthday this year. By far the best thing I did this entire year. Greater than any watch I bought this year. Greater than the truck I bought this year. Greater than all the money that I've been blessed enough to essentially attain this year. Um, and got engaged to my beautiful fiance, um, that I plan on marrying this upcoming year. So it's been a very fun year with you guys, and I'm very glad that I documented the YouTube channel, the YouTube journey, because you guys were able to see the growth that I've made, and it also holds me accountable too. But other than that, I hope you guys have a blessed New Year's Day, and I'll be seeing you guys in 2026, and we're going to take over the industry, crush our goals, and most importantly, grow closer to God as well, while on this hectic journey called life. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.